Black Gemara. Today's daf is daf mem. We're continuing to discuss the argument between Rav and Shmuel. We're talking about the only three Shavuos on Mahatorah, and our mission is focusing on the Shavuot of Moedim and Mixes. We make a partial admission. And the Mishnah said that there has to be a claim. There has to be 2 more kesef, 6 more in a dinner, and the rejection or the admission has to be a pruta, which is the 64th of that. So according to Rav, you have to actually deny at least 2 more kesef. When the Mishnah says taina, it means you're denying that 2 more kesef are part of the taina. And then you admit to a pruta. According to Shmuel, the entire claim only has to be 2 kesef. And according to Shmuel, the number of cases we had there about the money and all that, about silver and gold, are all talking about, not about currency and all that. It's talking about, I asked you for one kind of object, and you talked to me, admitted to me about another object, and that's why perhaps you are potus. We're up to the Gemara right now. Andaf Mem Amad Aleph Toshma, 10 lines from the top of the page. Toshma, coming here, Dina Zov Libiyodcha, I have a golden coin that's minted in my hand by you. And the other one responds, Ein love biyodi, ela dina kesem. No, what you have is a silver coin, is chayiv, because that's an admission. Even though you talked about gold and I talked about silver, we're talking about currency. And you're talking about a minted gold coin, not a minted silver coin, therefore it's a partial admission. Time the Amalei Zov. It seems to me the only reason why it's considered coins is because you spelled it out, a minted gold coin. Hastama, but if you just said you owe me a golden dinner and you would answer silver, it sounds like Hastama Shava Kamalei. It sounds like from here that you're talking about minted gold and minted silver. So it sounds like otherwise we're talking about the value, not about currency, talking about value. And it seems like that every time you say coin, it means value coin. You don't mean dafka gold and dafka silver. This is what the Bryce is saying. Whenever you say golden coin, is as if you're saying I'm talking about a minted coin. Not that he spelled it out, it's as if you said it. And therefore, that's exactly what we're saying here. In other words, it sounds from here that the only reason why it sounds from here, that whenever it says stam, it means the value of it, and here we tell you currency. So the Chaylet Sarayat to Rav that he says every time we talk about gold and silver, we're talking about the values of it. We're not talking about a piece of gold or a piece of silver. That's the argument of Shmuel Rav. You're talking about something else, exactly. And that's what Shmuel explains why he's potter. And Rav explains the Mishnah why he's potter is because the rejection was not to dinner. Rab Chia learned the Siyur Rav. He wanted to learn a proof to Rav, to support Rav. I have a seller, but the seller is missing. Seller has 4 shkolim, a shekel has 6 dinarim. So you're talking about, so we're talking about here quite a lot. So he says, I have everything here, minus 2. In other words, how much is he denying? 2 more, 2 dinarim, 2 more. Chayiv. And then the din is chayiv. Why chayiv? That's a moedim mixes. Chasama potter. But if he clearly says, look, only 1 more I disagree with. Everything else I agree with. Minus a more. Since I'm not koifer, I'm not denying 2 more. There's no moedim mixes here. Clear proof support to Rav that you have to deny 2 more, not that the claim has to be 2 more. So now we have a new din. So this is Bryce supported Rav. When do we say that you have to have a claim of 2 kesef? Only the tinus milver, only in the case of a loan. I'm saying you owe me $100 and you're admitting to only part of it. It says it mixes. But what about, let's say, the other shvuim have an eid echad? What about tinus milver v'das eid echad? What about the eid echad comes along and says you owe him $100, and to the eid echad you admit 50 and whatever, yeah, and let's say the eid echad is only saying you owe $1, a pruta. Because we said before you have to have either a taina of tumas or a rejection of tumas, so much more than a pruta. What about by neidechad pruta? You still swear ma'atayda? Do we have the same rules that we have a mix of eidechad or not? Tainas milva does eidechad. I feel like tunnel pruta. All he claims the pruta chai. When it comes to eidechad, chai in pruta. Why? Because my time when the chsiva says the pasuk layakum eidechad beish l'chalav l'chachatas. You can't. A single aid cannot be an aidis. Would then come. You can't be an aidis when it comes to things with Ron Avera. Aval kamu l'shua. Comes to shua, he could. So whatever two aids can do, he can do. And two aids come along and say oh pruta. Of course you owe a pruta. So if one aid comes along and says yo pruta, you chai b'shua. And Batanya we learn explain right here. It says the Brayse call Malcolm. Every place is nine b'chai v'samaman. Every place that two people b'chai mammon. Aid echad b'chai b'shua. Aid echad b'chai b'shua. Interesting that there's an argument, and trying to die about here. There's an argument if the Malva himself doesn't claim anything, just an Eidecha comes along and says, "You owe Reuben $100." Malva doesn't remember to say anything. Is it still din of Eidecha? Because the Gemara says Malva v'Eidecha. Sounds like the Malva has to be involved. It has to be the Malva's claiming it. Has an Eidecha supporting it. The Eidecha creates the whole thing. There's no claim at all. What happens then? Is it still a shvua mahatayra or not?
If you have an eidechot who's mechayv b'shvua, can you then be megalgel on that shvua?
Sorry?
Can you be megalgel with this shvua, which is based on an eidechot?
Yeah, once you have it. But once you're chayv mahatayra a shvua, any shvua, we learn from Shemrin. You can make, because according to some of the Shemrim, 3 shvuas by a Shemer, 2 of them are gilgul. One of them is what shvua in Geshusi, and the rest is a gilgul shvua. Anyway, yeah. Sagen wir weiter. Another din. Nachman says the name of Shmuel. If I make a claim of 2 different disparate objects, he was made on one of them chayiv. We don't say it's 2 different claims, and if on one of them you're kaifer hakal, and one of them you're made completely. We consider it one claim, and not everyone agrees with Shmuel. But Shmuel one consider one claim, and if you had made it to one of the objects, you're made to mixes. The Bitzchak said, Yasha, correct. In fact, Rabbi Yechanan holds just like Shmuel that in this particular case it's considered as one claim. The fact that he says that Rabbi Yechanan says, doesn't say Rabbi Yechanan and Rish Lakish, sound like Rish Lakish argues on this principle, and Rabbi Yechanan says it. Ikid Amri. So why others say Lav Datka Rish Lakish argues, but Misha Habishoyle B'Shatik. The way that Rish Lakish usually worked is Rabbi Yechanan would say whatever he had to say. Rish Lakish would hear him out to the very end. And once Rabbi Yechanan completed his whatever he wanted to say, Rish Lakish would then come up and say, "I agree, I disagree." But this Rabbi Yitzchak didn't hang around so long. He left. He let the Rabbi Yechanan finished, so he doesn't know what Rish Lakish's opinion is. Or he could Mishta Habishasale B'Shatik. Others said that Rish Lakish happened to be drinking water. Rabbi Yechanan said this thing, and therefore he didn't say anything. So we don't know what Rish Lakish holds. Whether he agrees with Rabbi Yechanan or he doesn't agree with Rabbi Yechanan. We'll assume he agrees with Rabbi Yechanan, and why he didn't mention it's claim over Rish Lakish because he didn't hear Rish Lakish say anything. Basically, we just learned a new din now, and I'm not talking about the basis. We already had it before in Gemara. Make two claims, and he made it to one of them. We treat it as if it's a partial claim. We look at the total aggregates, one claim. Lema Seila, bring it out here. It says, Tanu bechitin v'hoydolay b'sayin. In the Mishnah, he demanded from him wheat, and he was made in barley, so it's something completely different. Is potter, he is potter. And Rabbi Gamliel is chai. But I told you last time, big machlekes when we say potter doesn't mean you potter from a shua, but you're also potter from paying the sa'idin because he never claimed for sa'idin. Because he never claimed for sa'idin, so it's 2 ways of learning pshat in the shayim. So either he's meichel you, or actually it's 3, but 2 of them generally is either he's meichel you on the sa'idin, or the pshat is he can say when I was made the sa'idin, I was just playing around. You came up with this preposterous idea that I owe you wheat, so I said, oh, you owe me wheat, I owe you barley. I was stop talking. I didn't mean what I said. Anyway, I'm going to chayiv. Today should actually learn that could be when I'm going to says chayiv, not that you have to pay for the barley, but when I'm says chayiv, it means you're chayiv a shvur, and that's it. And time. So the only reason why the chacham say you potter it on the chitin by the Ha chitin v'sa'idin. What happened? He would have claimed to him the chatchila wheat and barley. But hoyle bechman and he was made in either one of them. Then chayiv. The only reason they put it is because you're made on something I never asked you for. But how did I ask you for sa'idin as well? Says that, so yeah, even those two different products, you don't look at those two different tainas and say, oh well, you were made on Sidon, that's one taina, and you were made at 100%, and you were kai for the chitin, that's a separate taina, and you were kai for hakol and your potter. We say no, we look at it as one taina, and that's that I want to bring from here. No right from there. Why? Who are the members that can argue if the chitin are not in potter? The same thing would have been even if you were asked them for chitin and Sidon, you were made on one of them, you were potter. You know, behind the kamif chitin, you know why they argue chitin? Like the acha koichet. But argue on chitin to let you know how far Rab Gamliel goes. Rab Gamliel, not only are you chayiv if he asks you for it, you're even chayiv. He never even asked you for it, and you're made on something totally different. You're called a made mixes, and you're chayiv. That's one attempt to bring it ayah. We say no ayah. Toshma, another attempt to bring it ayah. We had Torah nu kelim the karka. Remember, you don't swear on karka. So if you swore, if you claim from him kelim and karka. Hoide big kalim, the Mishnah said you were made in the kalim and the koffer the karkais, and you deny the karka. So the trigger is that you deny the karka and you don't make a shvur on karka, so therefore you don't swear. Or karkais, you made on the karka the koffer the kalim. You deny the kalim potter. Either one deals with karka, you potter. What about top of the page? Hoide ben mixes karkais. You made on part of the karka, so the hoide is a made mixes in the karka itself. You still potter. Why potter? Because they don't swear on karka. But the mixes kalim, you demanded, you asked for two kalim. He's made on one of the kalim, and karka. Once you chayiv a shvu on the kalim, you gilgul shvu, and we also add in the karka as well. Chayiv. So the only reason is timer the kalim the karka. The reason why you potter, why there's no chayiv shvu, because karka happens to be a thing like ancient Shemar version of karkais. The karka la bashvuya. How kalim the kalim? Do me the kalim karkais. What about the same case? But it would instead of being kalim karkais, it would have been kalim the kalim. He demanded one kind of a keli, and to deal with another kind of a keli, and you made down one of them, then you would be b'chayv shul. Call like Shmuel. That tone of b'chit b'saydin, b'chit b'saydin. Consider one taina, and you're made to mixes.
Can you make a shvur of karka agav kelim?
Yeah, no. No, because kalim you were made 100%, and the kfira is on karka. Karka cannot be a trigger for shvur. But if the kalim were the trigger for the shvur, like I know made a part of the kalim, then we have gilgul shvur that also throws in the rest. Yeah, so the matter not right from there, because who didn't feel the kalim here nami pot? It matters even kalim in the pot as well. So why does it say kalim guys? For all the time kalim guys, Kamash wants to tell you the chihoide, the chiddush of gilgul shvur, the chihoide b'mixas kalim. This is the chiddush here. If you asked him for two kalim and karka, and he's made it for one of the kalim, it's chayiv. Not only the chayiv shvur and kalim, which is obvious, but af al hakarkais. The idea of gilgul shvur that you can also throw in the karkais. That's a chiddush. My Kamash zayki. You want to tell me what that zayki you throw on, you add on the karka. Tonina will that already in kedushin. Zayki nas an chasim sheyesh lehenachrayis lishabeling. We can add on the chasim have a chayis to swear them on top of a chashem of a chayis. This concept of zaykikim we already had in the Mishnah in kedushin. So what's the chiddush of our Mishnah here? Saying this says the Gemara. No, our Mishnah here is the ikar that tells you that this is Shavuos. This is Masechta Shavuos. It tells you the laws of Shavuos. So the Shavuos are they on it. So therefore, it tells you the law of Gilgul Shvur. Over there is telling you the different din in how you kind of karka, that you can kind of kinyan agav, all about the relationship between karka and metalton. So it throws in that din as well, another relationship, but that's not the purpose of that Mishnah. Dikasug is here. Okay. However, Rab Chiya bar Abba, we just said before Rabbi Yechon holds, like Shmuel, Rab Chiya bar Abba said the name of Rabbi Yechon, that Ton of and Potter. He said Rabbi Yechon actually argues, and he holds your Potter. We learned before, Rabbi Yitzchak Yasher, Rabbi Yitzchak says, good, Rabbi Yitzchak clearly said, Rabbi Yitzchak said the same thing. You have two Amoraim, how they heard or whatever they heard from Rabbi Yechon. Machlekes Amoraim. So now, whatever we want to bring a Raya before to Shmuel, we're going to use as a kasha on Rabbi Yechon, and whatever we answered why it's not really Raya to Shmuel, we're going to say why it's an answer to Rabbi Yechon. So we're repeating Hogmar. Toshma coming here. If you ask for wheat and you made a certain pot and will chayiv. Time, but the only reason why you potted is the ton of chitin, but you were made on something he never asked you for. If it asked you for both, you were made on one of them, you'd be chayiv. No, that I is a kasha on a vehicle. Says the Gemara, no kasha. Who are the Nefilchita non potter? Truth matters, he be potted as well. No, I don't know why I say it this way. Lohidiacha koicha de Ram Gamliel. Tell you how the strength of Ram Gamliel. You watch, and we'll hold that even two different things is still chayiv by the mixes. There's a chiddush of Ram Gamliel. Okay, Toshma coming here, Tonu, Kalim, Vikakoi, same raya. Is a real word I'm number of the kasha. The Kalim, Vikakois. Well, we go Kalim, Potti, Potter. Hoy the mixes karka, also Potter. But the mixes Kalim, you might one Kalim of the two, then you chayiv, and you chayiv also for shvuv with the karka. Taimer, the only reason why you are Potter is because the Kalim, the Kakois, because karka you don't swear on. The kagala bashui. Mashma would be hot kalim and kalim. I asked you for two different kinds of kalim, and you made one of them. Do me the kalim because be chayiv. Kasha na bechim. Arayah to shmu. So the who are the for the kalim and nami pot? It doesn't matter you be pot as well. So why are we talking about kalim and karka? Well, Kamashma the hoide but makes us kalim chayim mafakakai. You said before to teach you the concept of gilgul shua. My Kamashma says the Gemara. What's the chiddush zoikin? What did you say that you add on? That the metaltlin drag along the karka, you make a show on the karka. No, we're religiously writing kedushin that Zaiki is a choshesh malachayis lishaval and we religious concept in kedushin. Says the Gemara again. Ha iker. Our sugi is the primary sugi of shua. And he agav grota and nasba. That was just brought down by the Chamel talking about other din in the village between karka and metaltlin. Okay, Esrei, my question. Rabba will ask the question to Rab Chia Barabba. You, Rab Chia Barabba, said Rabbi Yechon. It says you are potted. I'll ask the question. It says in Torah Shoy. Let's say he claimed from him a shoy that you have my shoy, and you made in a sheep. Say he claimed from a sheep, and you made a shoy. Pot, the dinners you are pot, right? Because you what I asked for you an answer and so on. What about Tanu loy b'shoy this set? He asked for both a shoy and a set. And v'hoyde loy be'echem, and he's made on one of them. Chai, klar. Arayit Shmuel, and to Rav Yitzchak's version of Yechon, and not to your version. Amalei, so he said back to him, why can't we say Hamani Ram Gamliel? Why can't we say the author of this is Rabbi Gamliel, who holds that Tanu b'chitin v'hoyde b'say and Yechayv? So Tanu b'shoy v'hoyde b'say Yechayv. He says, I have a problem here because Edom Gamul got a problem. What was the opening line of this brisa? If he asks for a shayl and you're made and say you are potter, when does the brisa say you're chayif? If he asks for a shayl and a set, and you're made to one of them. If it's Adam Gamliel, even in the first case you should have been chayif. For the Gemara, Edom Gamliel for Nami, even the first case should have been chayif. So he says, you're right, it's not Gamliel. And you know who it is? Mani, this is Admoni. Admon is the one who stresses his hand on mission as well. But you have to have hoido min hatainis. If I ask you for shirt and you respond with a seh, it's not min hatainis. But if I ask you for shirt and the seh, and you're made the seh, according to Admon, definitely you are chayiv because you min hatainis, part of tainis. But we're going to Chachamim, who argue with Admon, and therefore I said Rabbi Yechon says that you would be potter. And you should know, he said further, I'm not trying to find the solutions here, even though before it was real. But now I really mean it when I say it's Admon. But people Rabbi Yechon himself said it. How many Admon? Rabbi Yechon himself once said that the author of this brisa is Admon. Another din, the name of Shmuel. Okay, what happens? We said before, is potter. What happens if you can tell? You know when you're potter, when you can see that the guy was only asking for chitin, and then you went and said, no, but I owe you citing. So it sounds like you're saying the truth. But if you can see the guy is middle of a sentence, and you rush in and say, oh, but I'm made in the citing, then we say, Yechayiv, that's haram. And he jumped in ahead, and you could tell that he was going to ask for something else, and you jumped in right away, and you made the citing, knowing this din that you're parted from a shvuah. Is imkemarim. If he jumps in ahead, and if it looks like that, the judges have to be very cluey to be able to tell what's in his mind. So imkemarim looks like he's doing it as a trick to get out of it. Then chayiv will make him swear. It looks like that his intention, although he's honest, it looks like taka owe you, but you're making a mistake. It wasn't wheat, it was barley. Then he's pot on the rest. So the yonim have to be able to tell what's in his mind. So you see the criteria for being a dayan. You have to read people's minds as well to know what it is.
The body language.
Exactly, all that. You have to be very smart, not just hear the words, but to see you have to see them. And that's the whole debate about using videos and these things in the court. And in Tzedek, you see that the body language is very important. Warum Rabbanon Lam Shmuel? Rabbanon Zanim B'Shmuel, Toanu Shtei Machtin. Remember, we learned before by Kalim doesn't be double choshev. By Kalim, the Kali itself is already choshev enough because it's a complete Kalim. It can even be a needle, which is worth very little. It's still considered choshev. It's only kesef or anything like that we say you need. Has to be a double choshev, like a tumor or something. But when it comes to Kalim, I don't care what the value is. So what happens? Toanu Shtei Machtin. Let's say you claimed two needles. Kalim, when it comes to it, doesn't matter what the value is. A kalim is a complete object, and the pasuk says, "He gives kesef oy kalim, any kalim." And the reason why it says kesef in the Torah is to tell you when you everything else needs to be chashiv. Amar papa, Torah nu kalim. Let's say he demands from a kalim upruta and a pruta. The hoide bekalim, he was moide in the kalim, but the kaf of the pruta. If you remember, this is the machlekes Rav Shmuel. Rav hold that you have to be kaifer to ma. You can't if you're kaifer, the trigger for a moide mitzvah has to be double chashuv that you're denying. If you're denying a pruta, there's no trigger. According to Shmuel, the claim has to be to ma, but you can trigger it even by denying a pruta. So what about Papa Paskin? That's why most of the Shainim will Paskin like Rav. Rav Papa says, "Etonu kalim a pruta." The hoide became a pruta. Potter. Why would we potter? Because, like Rab, you have to be denying to a chashuv, not denying a pruta. Hoide be pruta be kafir bekalim. But if you made in the pruta and kafir bekalim, chayiv. There's two separate things he's asking for. So this is the second din of Shmuel, where Shmuel said, Torah chitin v'soidin, v'hoide b'soidin, is considered part of the total claim. Same thing over here. Chada grav, chada Shmuel, chada grav, dama kfir tainer shtei keser, that you pass the grav that you need a kfir of two keser. And chada Shmuel, dama Torah chitin v'soidin, v'hoide b'achman chayiv yochayiv. Says about it further, mana libi yodcha yomi $100. And he says, ain't I have nothing, potter, you're potter, right? Okay, for Hakol is potter. But Nachman, this is a Nachman comes along, and according to many, Nachman is the one who actually is not informing us about a halacha. He's the one who made up this thing. Remember, Nachman is the head of a bezin. So Nachman said, "Mashbino is a Shavuos Hesses." He still make a Shavuos Hesses. Shavuos Hesses, according to Rashi here, Hesses is from the word summa. You place a Hesses. Other place that Rashi says Hesses means just to convince. To convince the person to go ahead and make a shvuah to come out clean. So even though you're kavod hakel, we want you with the rabbanon to swear. You might well ask in a minute, what's the chilik? At the end of the day, what's the chilik shvuah the rabbanon that I see? You have to swear. We'll see in a minute. My time, but what's the reason? Chazaka ain't nothing to make in the The guy's asking for money. You don't stop asking people for money unless there's some truth to it. So therefore, we want you to swear. If anyone added don't we have a counter chazaka? Chazaka ain't no the may pana bifnei bal chayva. Isn't the chazaka a person have the chutzpah to look the benefactor in the face and say Baba Mises? I said no. There we can read into it that he's not a liar. Maybe he doesn't have the money right now, as we had more than he's just delaying. Exactly. On the other hand, to go ask a person for money when he doesn't owe you, we don't think that's true. You definitely once lent you money, and maybe you paid it back, maybe you didn't pay it back. So let's see. Or he thinks he lent you. He definitely is convinced that he thinks he lent you. He wouldn't stop making up such a story. How do you think he'll get it? And maybe this guy thought, when he has money, put on he'll pay him. Bring it out. We had some up here as well. If somebody denies a loan, and we turn out to be that he did borrow the money, is kosher laidis. It's still kosher laidis. You said you don't owe the money. Because we're going to convince ourselves you're not a kosher minor. We'll say that you're just trying to delay. When you have the money, you pay. You don't want him to hassle you. Or the pekadon, if you say, look, I don't have the pekadon, and turn out to be the pekadon in your house, then possible aides. You can never be trusted aides again. Forget about if you swore for. You didn't swear for. You just said that because migu the choshed amamayna, choshed ashuasa. But milva, we don't consider you a choshed amamayna. And we don't choshed amamayna. Yeah. Second one, Chaviva masna sefer. Chaviva learned this on a sefer. Same idea, but on a different part of the case. We had in our mission, said, you owe me $100. I'm like, yeah, I owe you $100. From 280, he said, I owe you $100. Lamacha, the following day, Amaloi, Tunuli, the following day, he said to them, give it to me. If he says, I gave it to you, you potter. Because I was made yesterday, who said I couldn't pay you? I don't know. Amal with the Aiden means sort of the Aiden, so I paid you back. Nachman said, but in this case, because there are grounds, it's much more than Stam Nevel to that guy's asking for money. Yesterday you had made in front of Aiden. So in this case, Mishbina was Hesses, but I want you to swear. So man, the masnaration, the one who says the guy asking for money, and you say, Baba Mai says we still make this with Kolshkein. I say for surely in the case where you yourself were made in front of Adam, and now he says something you don't have the money, surely make a shus hesses. Oh, but a man, the master sefer, the one who learns it on the sefer, in the case with the Adam, hachodika the money. Here there's a loss of money because we've established you definitely owe the money. Now suddenly you don't know, so maybe you have to swear. But the husband elected the money. Who said you lost money? How you made the guy made up the story? We have no proof. The guy stabbed the belt to ask you for money. So the mother law, different up. My ika ben sure that I should have. At the end of the day, what's the chilik if you tell me, okay, you don't have to swear, okay, for hakom. I'll tell you to swear with that about. What's the difference? Now, interesting. Rashi many times says the difference is what you have to hold on to say for Torah. We learned you have to have a chayfetz of kedusha. The Gemara doesn't make that distinction. So the Shayim want to know what's going on here. Why don't they make this distinction? The Gemara is different. Ika benayu. The difference is. Look, the way Rashi learns that the Gemara is looking for technical halachas, not the mitzias and how you swear. Because maybe we don't do all the intimidation. Remember, everything we learned in the Gemara a few days ago, we intimidate you, that you're Russia and all these things. Maybe we don't do all that by Yeshua the Rabban. But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about exactly the way you perform the Shavua. We want to know halachically in the outcome. Is there any differences? The Gemara says, yes. Meifich Shavua. Let's say the guy doesn't want to swear. Can he say, you know what, I don't swear. But you want my money and I want you to swear. Halachically, I'm allowed to swear. I don't want to. Can I say, okay, you, the naito, because the dinners we'll see later, the shua is only to pata you for paying. You don't have the concept of shua. Swear and take. You have a shua, swear and you're pata. The guy says, I don't want to swear, you swear. So can he be made with the shua to the other party on the other side? Ika benayu, that's a chilik. Sorry. Shmeivich shua. When it comes to Shua Tater, for example, Moed mixes like Mavchinish, I have no right to say, I don't want to swear, you swear. The other guy said, I don't swear. But the Rabbanan Mavchina, when it comes to the Rabbanans, I have a right to say, the whole Tukkan of the Rabbanan, you swear and you'll take. Well, the Mar Baravashi, and we know generally halakha was Mar Baravashi, except a few places. But the Raisa Nami Mavchinish, you have the right to say, look, I don't want to swear, you swear, you take. Ma'ike bein the Reis Rabbanan. So what's the halacha in the outcomes between the Reis Rabbanan? Ike benayu meiches lenichasei. Do we send the sheriff department to the guy's house to take his assets to pay up? Sure, the Reis, yes, we do, and sure, Rabbanan, we don't. But the Reis in the Chassid, the Reis, we have much more force and authority. Will go in and seize your assets. But the Rabbanan we don't. Well, Rabbi Yisi hold that even a din which is under the Rabbanan, we have the authority to go and seize assets. How do you know that? Now we learn in a Mishnah the Metzias Cheresh Sheit V'Kotten Yesh Behem Gezel T'Dag Shom. Cheresh V'Kotten have no kinyonim. Cheresh means someone is deaf and dumb, and the Sheit and the Kotten are minor. They have no kinyonim whatsoever. So if it's only Dark Shalom, we don't want you to take away things from them. So and that's it. So it's not right. And Rabbi Yossi says no. Gezel Gomer. He says they can be kinder, and therefore it's mamish Gezel. And Ba'omer Rabbi Chizah, what do you mean Gezel Gomer? B'divrei, not Mahatayda. They don't have kinyonim. Only Rabbanan. And we asked Lamay Nav Kiminu. What's the difference? Lo Hitzir, but the Yoni can go and extract your assets. So according to Rabbi Yossi, even the Rabbanan you can't. What's the chiluk Rabbanan the Raisa? Ma'ike ben Raisa Rabbanan according to Rabbi Yossi. What happens? The guy who has to swear is choshud. We don't allow him. He's ready to swear, but we don't trust him. If he has a certain reason why he can't swear, it's a kind of whatever. We can't trust him. The din then is that way we take the shua and we put it on the other party that guy swears and takes. Is we'll take the shua away from the person, who has to pay the summa idach, will place another person. But the Rabbanan, when it comes to Shavuos, the Rabbanan, the whole thing is a takanti. But the kanta lo yavdin. To make a takant, they're going to know to take it and put it on the other side. We're not going to do. No, the Rabbanan, the plug Rabbi Yossi. Let's finish again. Rabbanan who argue Rabbi Yossi. The Amru the Rabbanan nachtin l'chasek. Rabbanan said you don't seize assets, so tako mavdinli. So what do? The Rabbanan is saying sure I don't want to swear or whatever, or he swears. Whatever it is, and we do nothing. So what's our authority? According to Rabbanan, mishamtinale. No, we do. We place him in chaylev. Are we going to hold on to his male member and forevermore until he pays? Because we'll leave him a chaylev. You're saying we leave him a chaylev for the rest of his life until he pays up. And this is so powerful. How can we do that? We said we don't even go to seize his assets if we do this. Elamai Abdin, what do we do? Amalei Mishamtinle Adamotas Man Nog. What we do is we put him a chedim for 30 days. The din is when you put someone a chedim, he has 30 days to come in and be mechila and do whatever he has to do to fix it up. Otherwise, the nagdinale, after 30 days, he doesn't even care that he put a chedim. Get even angry, and we give him schmitz. The shavkin lebron go. We do the same thing over here. Okay, that's chilul rabbanon that I said. We'll stop over there. Tomorrow, mitzvah Hashem.